going to get my my visual aids out again. Ah, oh look what I found. When I went to Brussels to collect an award. Yes, that's not what I was going to talk about. Let's talk about peaches. This is a perfume here that I've made. It's called Orange Sunset Peace. It's got pictures of peaches and apricots on the label because it smells of peaches and apricots, and in fact it is 100% natural, except the 100% natural peach and apricot are not made from peaches and apricots. They are made from natural, isolated individual materials which put together smell like peaches. So if you want to build a peach, and this is lovely, it says in it flavours, so flavour is basically the aroma of a peach. It says we've got here benzaldehyde, linalool, gamma and delta decalactone, delta and gamma octalactone, 6-pentyl alpha pyrone, hexadecanoic acid, etc., etc. Benzaldehyde, gamma jasmolactone. And I had a phone call last week from somebody who she rang up and she said she'd read about this perfume ingredients and it sounded really scary. So she wanted to know if I made perfumes that didn't sound scary.
Tart snickerdoodle.
Orange tree. I mean, but if you look at the ingredients list, you might get scared if you don't understand chemistry. And I've come to realise that is most people.
Yeah.
I think most people slept through chemistry, or so many people have said if only they knew that perfume's all about chemistry, they would have paid more attention. I think we need to get to them early. But, so this is partly leading on from people talking about copying fragrances. How do you copy a fragrance? And partly all about what's actually in it, because the two of course meet. Another email I got last week was from somebody who's living in China, and he asked me how can I help him make his favourite Serge Lutens fragrance, and I said no, not really. But he said, but this is what's in it, and again, you know the score, listed the notes list from Fragrantica or whatever it was, and said, but I want to buy these materials and make this perfume, so what proportions are they in? And as we know, materials are the input, notes are the output. So the things that are written on the notes list, the perfumer probably didn't take the thing and put it in there and then expect it to smell of that. I mean, there's so much more to it. I wonder really why. We'll have to just have a small amount of what makes up this particular topic. So if we stick to the evidence you think that is available to tell you how to make a perfume, that will not tell you how to make a perfume.
Okay.
There are two sources of evidence. One is the notes list, and one is what it says on the back of the bottle. And I just picked this one off the shelf because I was looking for something that has benzyl salicylate in it. So this one, it says ingredients, alcohol, aqua / water, isn't it? Perfume / fragrance. And when it says perfume or fragrance, that means everything that's in the fragrance can be natural, can be synthetic, everything can be fragrance. It's secret because we don't want to tell you how to make our perfumes because we want to make it difficult. That's all. And then it lists the things which are potential skin sensitizers, like benzyl salicylate, which I have here, benzyl alcohol, butyl methoxy, dibenzoyl methane. I don't use that. Ethyl hexyl methoxycinnamate, alpha isomethyl iodine, which I have. Citronellol, geraniol, limonene, eugenol, linalool, isoeugenol, benzyl benzoate, it's late. Benzyl benzoate, citral. Now, if you wish to be scared by that, you could scare yourself, but it's not scary.
No.
I have here some fragrances that I made which are 100% natural for the Our Modern Lives range, which I brought out, I think, in 2017.
Bloody hell, that long ago.
Yeah. Excuse me. But now I think they're due a revival. I think they were ahead of their time. But here we go. The contents list. Yellow, it says
100% natural.
100% natural. Contents are parfum, limonene, citral, farnesol, geraniol, linalool. Got that. Did I add those to the perfume? No, I did not. They're already in there. Now, the blue one, ingredients, parfum, linalool, limonene, citral, geraniol. So it's only missing farnesol. And you might think, well, it must smell really similar. And as you probably recall, they smell completely different from each other. So that's not going to help. I have here the orange one, just to make a point. That contains alcohol parfum, limonene, citronellol, geraniol, linalool, citral. Does that smell like the other two?
No.
No. So where do these things come from? Well, the other one has in it a lot of different citrus fruits and fennel and coffee beans, absolute, and narcissus, absolute.
You're getting this from the picture, aren't you?
I'm getting it from the picture. Yeah, because you can't remember. Yeah, you're quite correct. Beautiful pictures. Karen did them.
Yeah.
And yes, I would do exactly the same for the orange one, which is, so the lemon is Sunrise Hope, and the orange one is Orange Sunset Peace. So that's the peachy one. What else did I put in it? Geranium, hay. Hey, can't have done, otherwise it'd have coumarin in it. Well, there's a painted thing that looks a bit like. Hey, can I remember? No. Orange flower. Yeah, I put neroli in there, which is made from the flowers of bitter orange. Yeah, smell it. I really like it. I use it in yoga classes, and I use it for in the evening if I don't really feel like doing standing poses because I'm tired. If I spray this on, I do feel like doing standing poses, and it wakes me up.
It's really nice.
So I've been using these in my classes for the last several years, because I'm not allowed to say they do things that, that's what I find. I'm not allowed to make claims for them which are not the case, but this one I just put on at night if I want a good night's sleep. Now, I'm not saying it is the cause. It's not cause and effect. It could be complete coincidence, but this is what does that for me. I put patchouli in it. The picture's really not helping. Linden blossom, CO2 extract, patchouli, vetiver, frankincense. Definitely, it's very incensey, calming thing. Probably labdanum and lavender. And most of them have bergamot in. All of them. And one of the reasons that they all have linalool in is because that's in bergamot. That's
and all citrus fruits?
Not all. Citral is in most of the citrus fruits. Limonene. How are you getting on with that?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Careful, you'll just fall asleep now.
Well,
No.
then I'll smell the orange one.
Okay. Oh, then I can let you smell the lemon one, and then the sunrise one. Then you'll wake right up. So we could look at the notes lists, and actually in this particular case, I have listed the actual things that are in them most of the time. Some of them, one of them has maltol in, which is natural because it's derived from malt, but only one step away from the live thing. So that smells really well like Maltesers. That's the red one.
What is malt?
Malt. Well, you know when you take barley and you malt it, I don't think they kind of cook it or something, and then it comes out all tasty.
Yeah, I thought it was that.
Processed barley. I know. Can you malt anything else? What's malt? Extract of malt.
A horse can malt. It's when it loses its hair.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so can parrots.
Parrots can malt.
Spelt differently. Yeah, we couldn't get through it without some kind of joke, could we, Arthur? So, can you use the notes list in order to tell you what something's going to smell like? In the case of these, actually, probably yes. It'll give you an idea. Can you use the ingredients list to tell you what something's going to smell like? No. Definitely not. But what else? The other things that I brought today are some of those things which are mentioned on the lists, because you can get them as single molecules. Or another thing I was asked was, somebody said they have read on ingredients lists that it says that things have got perfume and, pick that one, say, and it says limonene, citral, farnesol, geraniol, linalool. Should I add those to it?
Yeah.
Right. No, those things exist in the perfume already. They're already in this case, already in the essential oils.
So people think that they have properties that
They think, yeah.
These are special ingredients that add.
Somebody had read the packets on the back, read the ingredients list on the back of a perfume box and said, all these professional perfumes have these things in. Should I be putting them in mine?
I mean, that is it's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, it is.
To jump to when you see the.
Yeah, it's not a silly question. It's like, are these the things that you need to add in order to make it smell like perfume? Sometimes the answer is yes, but mostly the answer is no, because they're already included in parfum. These are just the skin sensitizers that legally we have to list. And 100% natural ones, they've still got a load of them in there. In fact, probably more, because essential oils produce skin sensitizers. Plants produce skin sensitizers and they're in the essential oils. So this is the linalool. And moving on to how do you make something that smells like something you like? So for practice, so that you learn how to do it. Not to sell it. But if you want to learn, then you do have to know what these individual things smell like, because they're things that you don't necessarily smell outside the perfumery world. So linalool, for me, if I smell bergamot, I can't tell it's got this in it.
This is linalool?
Yeah. It's in lavender, it's in bergamot. It smells a lot. I say rosewood.
I can smell lavender.
Can you?
Yeah.
You see, I try, and yet I fail. For me, rosewood is pretty much, I almost can't tell the difference sometimes. If somebody gave me linalool separately, if the two at the same time, I could say, oh, that one's the rosewood. But separately, genuinely, rosewood smells so linalool-y to me. And whole wood, that's about something like 96% linalool anyway, whole wood essential oil.
Right.
So that's, if you get 100% natural linalool, that's probably been extracted from whole wood.
So this is some people are allergic to this, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's on the back.
That's why it's listed on the back. Yeah. So that is linalool. so you know. Then benzyl salicylate, that's in so many things. It's not actually listed in any of these, but I think it's probably in... Oh, it's in indigo, because it's in lots and lots of white flowers. And indigo, oddly enough, you might think it sounds like a contradiction, but I made indigo with a lot of white flowers, of which we have talked. So benzyl salicylate, it's kind of it's as if you're smelling a flower, but you couldn't quite put your finger on exactly which flower it is.
Yeah, it is.
And also, it's very like walking into a florist, I think, benzyl salicylate plus cis-3-hexanol, you're like florist shop. But also, suntan lotion. If you want the suntan lotion aroma, which people are calling these days solar fragrances. I can't keep thinking of solar flares, but then benzyl salicylate is these are all diluted to 10%, so we're fine wafting them. So
very
that
solar.
yeah, the two together just starts to smell like a perfume.
It does, yeah.
Something that you will see if you're using, if you're creating an iris or a violet kind of a fragrance, then you will see this one written down. Well, actually this is iodine alpha. Which is a violetty smell. We don't smell this too much because this material has a habit of dulling the olfactory nerve endings. I think that's the bit that it attaches to a lot of them, and
it really gets, yeah.
After a little while, people can't smell it.
It's very, you can really smell that.
I like the way you were managing to. Oh, well, you were. I've jinxed it now. Fit them into the lens cap.
Yeah.
So that and that. So what we've got here is these are all synthetic, and they're all single molecules.
They smell nice together.
Yeah, and they're things that you would see listed on the skin sensitizers list. Bear in mind that most people are absolutely fine with these skin sensitizers, in the same way as most people are absolutely fine with
Nuts.
peanuts. Yeah. Or dust. But these are the reason that they're listed is because some people are not fine with them.
And must avoid them.
Yeah, so we put them on so people can look. That's what the back of the label is for, is to look at them and think, oh, it's got geraniol in it. That's the one I can't have that. So, unfortunately, people who don't know why they're there just think, it looks like a list of scary things. So I just want to unscare people a bit. And so this, if you've got tobacco or almond or hay, absolute.
It's coumarin, no.
It is coumarin. Just when you get
coumarin. I think coumarin's just about the only one that I can always identify.
It is quite. Once you know it, you sort of know it.
Yeah.
Tonka beans, of course. It's the big tonka smell. So. Yeah. We've now made a quite nice, fresh, white masculine, I would say. Leaning towards, even though it's got the violet smell in it.
Yeah, it's nice though. Just coumarin just makes everything great for me.
Well then, I must give you a killer. No, I mustn't. But yeah, so I wonder sometimes if I spend this time talking to you, Arthur, and the world about how not to do things rather than how to. Because, look, thing is, lots of people come to me hoping for a shortcut, hoping that there'll be the magic thing that just somebody needs to just tell them the thing, and they'll instantly be able to make perfume.
Mm-hmm.
And that the thing is just kept secret, but surely it's available. There's another thing that doesn't tell you how to make perfume, which has been much in the news in my little world, which is the gas chromatograph mass spectrometer analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So the GCMS, or even LCMS, there's a liquid chromatograph mass spectrometer as well. There's headspace. There's lots of different ways to analyse what's actually in an aroma. If it's the gas, it's evaporated off. It's liquid, you stick it in. And as you heat it or evaporate it in some way, the individual molecules will float off, and they all have a different weight. So they get recorded one by one in order of, the light ones down to the heavy ones.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get the list of all of those different molecules, it still doesn't tell you exactly how the perfume are made perfume. And
because they're all individual molecules that are within other ingredients.
Spot on. It might be that what you've got is bergamot, and you might also have rosewood. You might also have lavender. So when the linalool shows up, it's come from the bergamot and the lavender and the rosewood.
And does the mass spectrometer, it doesn't tell you amounts?
It will tell you, it'll
What
give
percentage?
you, it'll give you, but it doesn't tell you how much of that linalool came from each individual, because it doesn't know.
No.
It can only identify the individual, as if they're notes of it, like on a piano scale.
Yeah.
So it can tell. Christophe Laudemière, my hero, paid to have an analysis done of Chanel No. 5.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the police come to arrest him. No. It came out as a list of 150 things.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people saying, oh my goodness, that's a long formula. And he's like, it's not the formula. That's the list of all the individual, well, not even all, there'll be hundreds more.
But there are only 5 things in Chanel No. 5, aren't there? Well, no, it's not. It's the 5th one.
That's exactly why they called it that. Yeah, the 5th one's a secret. There are probably about 40.
Yeah, I meant
I know you're joking.
I don't know why I misremembered that.
Thank you, Arthur, for that.
No, but it was the 5th mod.
Yeah, that's what we believe. There are so many stories,
Right.
But according to Yves Tanguy, who heard it from Mademoiselle Revel, who was working for Ernest Beau at the time, it was the one that it was the 5th version, and of the many that he presented that day. That was the one that had No. 5 on it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many stories. But would that help you make Chanel No. 5? Well, no, probably not.
No.
Because nobody's got those 150 things. Well, I mean, they might. But there are many more. I mean, you stop at 150. There are probably tiny little bits in between. I mean, the printout from a GCMS goes like that one, lots of little other things, and that one, and a lot of other little things, and that one, and so people, you notice the big peaks, record the big peaks, so you get an idea of what's in. But if you ran something like this formula, which you might do if you wanted to make the synthetic version, then fine, there'd be a lot of citral in it because there's masses of citrus fruits in there. There'd be some gammon decalactone because there's a natural peach in there. Farnesol must be from the fennel. So yeah, it's a guide, but you're not going to get the complete picture either from a notes list, or even if I said exactly what's in this, you wouldn't know what proportions, and definitely not from the list of ingredients on the back. So how do you do it? Practice. Not helping, am I? But you you start to realise that if something says it has a note of tonka, then that's probably come from coumarin. It might have some real tonka in it, but if it's, £30 down at Superdrug, it's probably not got any real tonka in it. If it's got phenylethyl alcohol in it, might have some natural rose. It certainly will smell rosy, but you kind of have to learn the individual aromas of all of these little things to give you an idea of how to put something together.
Mm-hmm.
Until the 1960s, everybody made copies of other people's perfumes by smelling and familiarity and trying. And the other thing is that you can make two things that smell exactly the same pretty much out of different materials.
Yeah.
So, am I helping? I'm hoping I'm helping to give some perspective to the people who think they're going to be able to leap in and copy something famous and make their fortunes in a very short amount of time.
There are lots of counterfeit companies.
Yeah.
That make a living that make big business out of fraud, but that you always hear people go, oh, it's just not the same. You go, well, no, it isn't.
you either hear that, you get people who bought them who go, well, I wouldn't spend the money on the expensive one because it's just as good. You get the people who are told that they've all come from the same factory, so really it's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the classic counterfeit story.
Yeah.
But what used to happen before GCMSs was that you'd get the general impression. It's like, okay, that smells rosy, we'll put some phenylethyl alcohol in. If you're going to be copying it, if people are copying it, they're generally not going to recreate it with the expensive stuff.
No.
So, but a trained nose gets a general idea. Okay, that smells ambery, so in that case I think I'll start with labdanum and vanilla.
Yeah.
So that should give me a bit of amber. Now, what else am I picking out of this? I'm getting some citrusy stuff. Let's go with orange and see where that takes us.
Yeah.
It might be that the perfumer used a subtle blend of tangerine, cedar and kumquat. But actually orange will probably do it.
Yeah.
And the other thing about copying things would be that if it's rosy, just miss out the rose and go for the phenylethyl alcohol. That's what used to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a fairly good copy of something by just taking the big pinks from the GCMS. But getting a GCMS analysis done, that costs a lot of money as well. But it's not all. So the GCMS is a way, but they won't give you everything. The list on the back is certainly that sends you in a general direction. But you only have to have 0.001% of those allergens in your perfume to have to declare it. So there could be tiny amounts of this and they won't make much difference to the smell. Curiously enough, Arthur, I have written an explanation about it in the book. Which, because I know what is in Dried and Wild, I've explained what is on the list and where it came from. So, for example, the list in Dried and Wild is the alcohol and the parfum: limonene, hydroxycitronellal, Evernia prunastri, which is oak moss extract, citral and geraniol. So, the limonene comes from bergamot, sweet orange and black pepper. The hydroxycitronellal is a single aroma chemical, that always comes from hydroxycitronellal, that's easy. The Evernia prunastri, oak moss, is this oak moss, easy. Citral comes from the bergamot and the orange, and the geraniol in this one comes from the osmanthus, naturals, osmanthus, orange flower, orange and jasmine. So, reading the notes list might give you an idea. Reading what's on the ingredients list won't give you a clue. So how do you do it? Practice. Trial and error. There are clues. But there's no substitute, Arthur, for getting to know your materials.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hoping to compose a piece of music for an orchestra without really knowing what the individual instruments sound like. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'll do. If you get the hang, if you think, okay, I know I'm going to write a tune. I'm going to put the basses playing the top notes, and then I'll have the violins down below. It's like, no, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. It's not going to work.
It's like, I suppose, if you listen to a song, you're like, try to play it. Once you find the first chord, the first note, and you know what kind of chord it'll be, and then you know how the chord structures work, you're going to be able to find the rest of it all pretty easy by, because you know your chords.
I mean, learning to recreate perfumes by nose is a little bit like playing music by ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except that every time you try a chord out, you don't waste more stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't take up
just
perfumery.
make your own perfumes.
No. Don't play the guitar.
Yeah.
Don't make perfume.
Yeah.
Learn to play the guitar. See, I'm really not helping.